Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here tonight with Bruce McCurdy. Hey, Bruce.
Hey, David. How are you doing tonight?
Good, good. That was a really good game in the end.
Yeah, it got better down the stretch.
How are you doing?
I'm all right. All right. I was a little concerned there when Anaheim went ahead for a third time early in the third period
Yeah.
on a second failed Edmonton penalty kill. But the Oilers kind of took over after that. They had the last 9 grade A shots of the game by our count, and maybe you can recap what the totals were for the game.
They were 22-14 for the Oilers. Excuse me. And
But
on the subset of 5 alarm shots, it was 9-8 for the Ducks. And I was concerned as well, although the Ducks are a weak defensive team, obviously. So against a better team, that might have been fatal to go down 3-2 on a goal like that early in the third, but the Ducks are a better team. Nonetheless, this seemed like a game the Oilers could have lost because that was a big effort against Vegas. Big game tomorrow night against LA, so it's kind of could be lost in the weeds. And there's no easy games to win in the NHL. They're all hard. And so they could easily have lost, but they won the game 5-3. Bruce, this is our 2 good things, 2 bad things, 2 numbers, and 1 conundrum podcast. Because it's the first time this year that the Oilers have stopped a losing streak at 1 game. We'll go with 2 good things each, because it did have that feel to it that they could have lost this game, and they have yet to snap off a losing streak at 1 game. So this was a big win in that way. I was hoping they'd get it. Ever since you mentioned that at the last podcast, I've been thinking about that. So 2 good things each. What's your first good thing?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the obvious and select Evander Kane, who was first star of this game, and rightfully so, with a hat trick. Twice drawing Edmonton level with the 1-1 and 2-2 goals, and then finally sealing the deal with a hat trick. But I thought he was good in other ways. He had 7 shots on net to lead the team. On the 3-3 goal, where he didn't get a point, but he still had a role to play with it, driving hard to the net as McDavid found Hyman at the back door. I'm not quite sure what the 3 of them were doing on the ice together at that moment, but probably just the intermediate line change. And Kane was just kind of barging around out there being a boss. And I think he was pumped by playing with his new line mate, Corey Perry. Like, I can see where that would really sort of get a power forward's attention. Is that, I want to show him my best game, this future Hall of Famer, which I think Perry potentially is. And Kane responded to that challenge with gusto, and very impressive night's hard work. And his goals were, the one from the side of the net, which I think you'll talk about a little bit more, but he took advantage of a distracted goalie and sifted a good shot in right inside the short side post. And then the second one coming up the ice on a I think it was an even man rush, but he got a clear shot from the slot through his screen, and he just powered it through both the screen and the netminder at that moment, John Gibson. And then, of course, on the empty netter, he won a race to a puck where he's just blasted by.
Yeah.
Who was it? Number 60, Jackson Lacombe.
I was surprised.
Who was on the ice for Anaheim with the goalie out looking for. Yeah, well, I wasn't. I figured with the empty net carrot at the other end that he was going to get to that puck, and sure enough, he just powered through the diving attempt by the defenseman to slow him down and finish the job. He's a bit of an empty net merchant, Kane, with a hat trick on the line. Well, go out and get it, and he did. I mean, credit where due. He got the job done tonight.
Yeah, I like the second goal, actually. Initially, it didn't seem that impressive because it was kind of a shot from the high-ish slot. and but he really used the screen of the defenseman. I thought on that shot, he put that puck hard right on the ice, which is sometimes can be hard for a goalie. It was hard right on the ice, right past the defenseman's skates, and that's why that shot went in. It was just a really hard shot through a screen, and excellent goal. He said after the game that his shot is his bread and butter, and he showed that on both those first two goals. Just getting off hard shots when the goalie was a little bit off kilter for one reason or another. My good thing is the reason that he was off kilter on the first goal. It was a classic Corey Perry play. And, we've lived long enough, Bruce, to see Corey Perry pull off one of these plays as an Edmonton Oiler, as opposed to against the Edmonton Oilers. So
certainly lived long enough to see a few of those.
Yeah. he and it was classic because on any other player would have got a penalty, but because he goes by the goalie and slashes the goalie stick out of his hands. I mean, you can't slash anyone's hockey stick out of their hands, let alone the goalie, and he got away with it. And because of that, the puck comes around the boards and to Kane, and he goes in and shoots. Gibson doesn't have his stick; he's discombobulated, and the puck goes in the net. So that was just a classic Corey Perry sequence because he slashed the stick out, no penalty, and a goal is scored. That's the Corey Perry trifecta. And
he made a pass in the middle of it too. Like
he did.
He went into the corner and was able to dribble a weak pass that somehow went through everybody into Kane, and then Kane curled out from the corner and shot. It wasn't stick side that he beat Gibson. It was glove side, but I think he was discombobulated, as he said. And it was, Gibson was playing the puck, and Perry was battling him for the puck. And Louis said, the goalie, when he's outside of his crease playing the puck, you're allowed to stick check, stick on stick. But he did give him a pretty nice whack.
Maybe it's a few years ago.
The lumber.
Maybe it's a few years ago that they charged every time a player got his stick hacked out of his hands a penalty. Like maybe that's from a few years ago that happened like every single time. Maybe there's a little bit more leeway at this point in the NHL. Anyway, he got away with it. He's been otherwise solid. Like he's a smart defensive player, and still has some offensive game around the net. He's just excellent at winning pucks on the boards and puck protecting and making plays down low. So he's going to be likely going to be a useful depth player for the Oilers down the stretch here.
Yeah, a couple shots on net tonight, an assist, +2.
Good work, Corey Perry.
Bad for a depth signing.
Yeah. What's your second good thing, Bruce?
Yeah, I think I'll stick with Calvin Pickard, even though his stats weren't particularly any good. Like he let in 3 goals on 27 shots for an .889 save percentage. That doesn't really stand out at all. But man, he made some great stops.
He did early on.
Especially in the first period, where they scored late in the period, but they scored. They easily could have had a 2-0 lead or more after the first period, and it just seemed like he didn't face that many shots, but when he did, they were, they weren't just grade A's, but 5 alarms, as you point out. And Edmonton's defensive play was quite sloppy at times, and we'll talk a little bit about that and their bad things. And Pickard cleaned up a few messes, including one of his own when he made a brutal giveaway and then recovered to get back in the net and stop the guy one-on-one. And right in tight, but he also cleaned up a few other guys' messes too. So.
I thought he was pretty good. He had a few iffy moments too, but he was pretty good and he got the job done. And I thought he was. Go ahead.
My bonus good thing, because it's the same topic of cleaning up messes. Evan Bouchard twice saved.
Goals for
Pickard.
Yeah, that especially on that breakaway by Gruel, I think Benoit Gruel.
Yeah,
That was a heck of a play by Evan Bouchard. I think that really did save a goal. And then, well, the other one too, the guy was coming around the net
to wrap it into the open
to
net.
wrap it in the open net, and he stopped that. So yeah, 2 goals for
Mhm.
boys. Is he ever a divisive player, Evan Bouchard? You go into a group of Oiler fans, and half do not like Evan Bouchard, and half think he's fantastic. So I guess it depends what you think of finesse offensive players as opposed to big Bobby clobbers on defense.
Mhm.
If you're on the team Bobby Clobber, you don't like Evan Bouchard. But if you're on team make beautiful
Bobby
passes,
Orr.
uh, Paul Coffey. If you're on team Paul Coffey, you like Evan Bouchard.
Yeah. Well, I sure liked how he cleaned up those messes tonight. So he got sort of a secondary stick tap on the mess cleaner upper, the janitor crew tonight
Yeah,
was
nice work.
Pickard and Bush.
My second good thing is Conor McDavid. I thought it was another night where I think he actually willed his team to victory in a significant way. He hit the post in the first period, but really he tried to wake up his entire team with that wicked hit on, is it Vakanainen? Is that his name? Something like that.
Vakanainen, yeah,
Oh,
Urho Vakanainen.
yeah, he just blasted him with a really nasty hit. And then in the third period, he absolutely came alive. He twice roared up the ice and set up Zach Hyman for great shots. And on the first one, Hyman missed, or he didn't miss. He actually got quite a good shot. I thought he should have shot it immediately, honestly, but um, he made it. He had a heck of a shot that was a great save by the goalie. On the second one, he picked up that puck. The second he picked up that puck in his own end, and it was a difficult pickup because he had to pull his stick out to his side and reel it in. I mean, hardly any hockey player can make that play, and he did it at full speed.
Not at full
Charges up
speed
the
like
ice,
that.
sets up Hyman, sets up Hyman. Most people would have fallen over just making the attempt. Anyway, he made another great, and then on the power play he was flying out there and charged it. Bouchard made a very nice pass to him on the wing
Mhm.
as he was charging in, and McDavid then set up Draisaitl for the executioner shot. So 3 assists for Conor McDavid, Bruce. He now is fourth in NHL scoring,
Well,
slowly moving up the standings, inexorably moving up the standings. We'll see if he's got enough to overtake Kucherov at the top of the standings. I think there's a chance. He's about, what is he, 15 points
yeah, there's
behind
two of them
Kucherov.
that are way ahead of him,
McKinnon.
Kucherov and McKinnon.
Yeah. So, but I wouldn't count out Conor McDavid. Um, he was fantastic tonight. Your bad thing, Bruce.
Yeah, I'm going to go. I'd almost be redundant because I already said it with Edmonton's just general poor defensive play. So I'm going to single out the first goal scored on the power play and how quickly things can go wrong. Uh, and this was a night where the PK had a fail of a game against a weak power play, and they had two penalty kills, and they didn't kill either one of them. Well, on the first one of those, they had a face-off in their own zone, and Ryan McLeod actually pulled the puck back. He was credited with the winning the face-off, but Adam Henrique outreached Warren Fogle on the winger support, and of course on the power play, the team with the power play often wins the winger support because they've got the extra guy. But he was able to win that and pull it back, and all of a sudden there was chaos in the Edmonton end, and what wound up happening was McLeod didn't quite get out to the shooter on the point, and then there was a lineup of Edmonton players doing the double screen on their own goalie,
It's almost a
Fogle in
triple
the
screen,
front.
yeah.
Yeah, McLeod almost was in there too. Fogle in front, Desharnais behind, 73 and 37. And I said to my wife, "Is all Pickard saw in that play was threes and sevens because there was no way he saw the puck." And then the
It hit Fogle.
outside shot did rattle off Fogle's shin pad and just changed direction enough to hit the post on its way in. Well, honestly, it he didn't have to pick the corner. Like, that shot beat Pickard's glove by easily a foot. he just had no idea where it was,
Yeah.
and and he got the good or the bad bounce against him, but he couldn't see a thing, and it was just too much trying to block the lane and not successfully doing so, and just like that, bam,
Hell
in
of a
the
play
net.
by Fowler.
It was.
Yeah.
He's a good player.
He is very smart, walked the line and got off a shot against the grain, and it was an excellent play. My bad thing, Bruce, is the second power play goal, the 3-2 go-ahead goal in the third. And I just think the Oilers were cavalier
Hmm.
against on the PK. They're just kind of flying around, looping around. This was Janmark and Brown, who have been pretty darn good on the PK, part
Hmm.
of an excellent PK unit. But they weren't stopping and starting. They were looping around, trying, like, being overly aggressive in the passing lanes, I thought, instead of just
Hmm.
holding their position and stopping and starting. And it just led to a wide open shot by, I think it was Vetrano, who you don't want to let have a wide open shot. That guy can really shoot on a cross seam pass. And it's because Janmark and Brown had just been kind of not really floating because they were hustling, but they weren't digging in. They weren't really, doing the hard work of the stop and
Hmm.
the start. They were just skating around in circles seemingly, and not really bearing down. And it led to that cross seam pass, and it led to that great shot by Vetrano.
Actually, it was Vetrano who made the pass,
Oh, was it him?
and it
Who
was
shot
Ryan
it?
Ryan
Oh,
Strome
Strome, you're right.
who picked the top
My
corner
mistake.
with the shot. But it was, there was three Ducks kind of up high in the umbrella, and two Oilers that were chasing around. As you say, there wasn't much stopping and starting. It was more a lot of circling. And the two highest Ducks beat the two high Oilers, and Vetrano was kind of left alone in the slot, and the two defensemen in front were trying to deal with him, and he made this very nice pass along the seam to Strome in the faceoff dot, and he powered home a good shot. And it was good execution by Anaheim, but I was just not very good execution by Edmonton.
No, they didn't give them enough respect. And I think I'd seen it on the previous PK as well, the same tendency. And I was kind of wondering, like, they seem kind of loose out there. And so that's my bad thing. Bruce, what is your number?
Yeah, what is my number? Um, I had it, now I forgot. You go ahead, David, if you don't mind.
Oh, my number is 15 and 15. This will surprise some people, but Evander Kane and Conor McDavid have the same number of even strength goals, Bruce, 15
Wow.
each. Evander Kane has his critics, I notice. There's lots of people who like to make nasty comments about him, that he's not a very good player at this point in his career. He's not a great player, but he does some things really, really well. And two of those things are absolutely essential to winning hockey games. One of them is shoot the puck, and the other thing is intimidate the other team. And he still does those things. And I think if he bears down on defense, sometimes, like, my only criticism of him is sometimes he's loose on defense. He doesn't give his all, and he's not intense enough. And there's a number of Oilers you could say that's that same criticism of. But just like all those other Oilers who have those same foibles, they have compensatory skills, and Kane certainly does as well. And I think overall he's a player that helps your team win, and especially a player that helps your team win in the playoffs still. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Right on. Yeah, when he's on the hunt, he's still a very strong player and a very intimidating opponent. I
And
sure
you
would
said,
want to line on the hunt. Yeah, like when he's hunting the puck down and hunting opponents down and looking for hits and shots and just to get aggressively involved in the game. He's he's a force to be reckoned with, and he certainly was tonight.
yeah, when you said he's on the hunt, that Duran Duran song went through my mind. Anyway, I won't
Okay.
sing it. I will
Yeah,
spare you.
I suspect it's about something else.
Yeah, I think it was actually.
Yeah, okay.
Uh,
My number is 12, and that's the number of grade A shots that Conor McDavid contributed to by the Oilers tonight.
yeah,
One against his very first involvement on the first shift of the game. He
yeah,
allowed a pass for a dangerous shot, and then after that, it was just 12-4.
yeah.
Three on the power play, all in that great second power play where Edmonton had to respond. This was nearly my good thing, where Anaheim had scored twice and Edmonton had not done much on their first power play. And when they got the second power play and it was 3-3, I said to my wife, "Now this is a time the power play needs to produce." Not just get a good power play, they need to score. And they had
They
a
sure
great
did.
power play. And they had four grade A shots, a couple by Nuge, one that rang the post. And in all, it took them a minute and 3 seconds to create those four great chances, and the one, including the one that Draisaitl finally put away for the game winner. And but that was a lot of that was McDavid's doing, of course. And he
Great. He just
was
had a I'd give him a
the
nine.
third
I'd
third period. He was fantastic.
9 out of 10 in that game.
Hmm.
That's what I would give him. I don't know. You're going to probably give him. What are you going to give him, an 8 or a 9?
At least I haven't actually really given a lot of thought yet, but in terms of who gets what.
Anytime
But
someone's 12-1 on grade A
yeah,
shots, like
yeah, no, he's going to get a
that's
very high grade, and so is Kane.
that's unreal. Like
So,
that, you hardly ever see that kind of
well,
discrepancy margin. Bruce, tonight's conundrum is, why did Coach K do that with his defense pairings? And I guess we can comment on, did it work? I mean, you break up Ekholm and Bouchard and you put them back together, but you break the
he did.
best, probably the best defensive pairing in the NHL for the last couple months. You break that pairing up, it's kind of like breaking up Paul Coffey and Charlie Huddy. Like, why are you doing that? I didn't, I just was baffled, Bruce. And I saw, a lot of people who just reflexively or generally support the coach's decisions, work hard to think, okay, they know more than we do. They know a lot more than we do. So let's work hard to think why this is a good idea. I couldn't think of why that was a good idea, Bruce. Like, honestly, it just escaped me. I couldn't figure it out. I could see promoting Desharnais and demoting Cece, giving that a chance and see how that
Hmm.
looks. But breaking up Ekholm and Bouchard, I'm still baffled. I don't know why. And then they went back to it, of course, in
They
the
did.
second period. Thoughts?
Yeah, well, I really wanted to see Desharnais and Nurse get a shot together, and I thought that was a logical move because uh, Cece's had his struggles, and that pairing, like their defense first, and well, that's Vinny's game as well, and he's been coming on gangbusters. All that said, I don't think he had a great game tonight because he got beat
No.
for 2 goals,
Yeah.
one in evens and one on the penalty kill. But he delivered a huge shot block down the stretch, and
He
he and
sure
Nurse
did.
together blocked three, and they played together nearly 18 minutes, David, at even strength. Nurse and Desharnais, 17 minutes and 54 seconds. Uh, and the rest were a hodgepodge. Kulak played 8:39 with CC and 6:24 with Bouchard. And CC, of course, played um, 8:39 with Kulak and 7:43 with Ekholm. And so all of the other four guys, they played almost equal time with two different partners because the switch was made sort of halfway
Yeah.
through the game. And Ekholm himself, he played uh, 8:39 with Bouchard and 7:43 with Cece, so almost the same again. So it was a bit of a jumble there, but it wasn't like he went back to all three original pairings. He went to two new pairings, but he returned Bouchard to Ekholm. And honestly, I thought it was Ekholm that was struggling more than Bouchard in this game. I thought he had some tough moments out there. It was caught in bad spots a few times, kind of flat-footed, and maybe he got discombobulated by
Yeah.
getting put on a pairing with Cece instead of Bouchard. I mean, that
Well,
would be a change.
they discombobulated it all in once. You never want to break up Huddy and Coffee, Bruce, is all I'm
Well,
saying.
yeah. That's
So
what they're like, eh?
it was a big mistake, I thought, honestly, and I'm confirmed in that opinion. Anyway, they tried it, whatever. I actually like CC and Kulak and Deharnay and Nurse. I think this is worth a try. I think that Jason Strodwick has often made the point that he thinks Nurse is better off with a puck mover, and I think in the end that's probably right. And if they could trade for one, like trade for if it was possible to upgrade Cody Ceci with a solid defensive player who could really move the puck, sure.
Mhm.
I just don't see that trade. So I don't see that player available. So, but Deharnay may be a better defensive defenseman at this point than Ceci. He may be a better player than Cody Ceci. There's only one way to find out.
Yeah.
That's to play him there and see how it rolls. And I'm okay with them experimenting with that. Deharnay's moving the puck better. He's defending in an outstanding fashion, generally speaking. But we'll see. The second you start to go against super tough competition, the second you see how hard it is to succeed against that, and people are down on Cody Ceci, well, he's played tough competition year in, year out with the Oilers, and he's done pretty darn good. So maybe people are going to start to appreciate what Cody Ceci has done when they see if Vinny Deharnay struggles in that same role, which is a real possibility. But we'll find out, and I think that is worth an experience. That doesn't baffle me at all. Just that other thing.
Right.
I didn't get it.
Yeah. CC and Kulak seemed the obvious
Yeah.
choice. You switch those two pairings. You switch out one left for left or right for right, depending on how you want to look at it. And you don't touch the other one. And eventually that's what they did. And I'll bet you tomorrow night we'll see 2 and 14 back together, but we'll see Nurse and Deharnay still together. And the new third pairing, let's look at
Kulak and CC,
ice time for him. Yeah, it was pretty close. Nurse had almost 23 minutes tonight, and he had the most. And Bouchard was cut back to 18:45 in this game. So, and he's had a few games of like 25 minutes, and he was actually fifth out of the six. Only Kulak played less minutes than Bouch tonight. Even CC played about a half minute more than Bouchard did. And so he was third of the three right defensemen, Bouchard. So you almost never see that.
Well, maybe they were mad at Bouchard because he didn't have a great game. Maybe they wanted to demote him a bit or something. It's the other theory, like that could be part of what happened. But
sometimes the ice time leaders wind up in that spot because they can't get the damn puck out of their own end, and they have all these 2-minute shifts chasing the puck. Right, but it's that's especially true of penalty kill ice time in any given game. You might say, "How did that guy get the lead?" And then you find out, well, he never got off for a minute 45 of a power play or something. Anyway, Ceci, I'll give a tiny bit of credit for one, I thought, great play that he made to win a race to icing late in the third period with the Oilers hanging on to a 1-goal lead, and he did it. He was on against a faster guy, and he cut across in front of him to screen the guy from getting past him, and was able to win the icing race that way. Just a subtle little play, but one that took the pressure off and put the puck at the other end of the ice. Little things win games.
He is a decent hockey player, Cody Ceci, and so we'll leave it there at that. So they play the LA Kings tomorrow night, Bruce. We'll be
right back at it tomorrow.
Back at it, and you got the game grade, so I'll let you get at it here.
All right.
Thanks for talking tonight.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everyone.
And in the meantime, and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.